You want me to put that on my Tudor?
Harry's wife. He is suffering. Finding somebody to be supportive and complimentary about the Sussexes these days, it's an unenviable task trying to hunt somebody down. They're a pair of fucking grifters. She lacks talent. They're viewed as lazy, not taking direction well. And plenty of people are quite prepared to lend their voices to saying, yup, makes sense to me. And it continues. Stephanie Nolasco for FoxNews.com tells us, Prince Harry suffering following exit, but private matters should stay private in families. Italian prince. Now, I'm sure Prince Emmanuel Filiberto of Savoy is a thoroughly decent chap, but we don't tend to hear from him ordinarily. But it just shows the scope and extent by which the media are more than content to have a pile-on against the Sussexes. Why? Because they're viewed as thoroughly deserving it because of their behaviour. And this time, column inches have been provided to Prince Emmanuel Filiberto of Savoy, who states that Prince Harry is suffering following his royal exit. The Duke of Sussex, the younger son of King Charles III, and his wife, Harry's wife, married in 2018 at Windsor Castle. Despite a fairy tale wedding that hinted at a happily ever after, although those of you, of course, who are loyal Tudorites know that won't happen, the couple stepped down as working royals in 2020. At the time, they cited what they described as the unbearable intrusions, threat to control for her, and racist attitudes, revision of history, of British tabloids. Harry's fury at the media has been building for years. He blames an overly aggressive press for the death of his mother, Princess Diana. The Princess of Wales passed away in 1997 from injuries she sustained in a Paris car crash. At the time, the 36-year-old was being chased by paparazzi. Harry, 38, has also accused the media of hounding Harry's wife, 41, a former American actress. Although, of course, we all know it's Harry's wife that hounds the media. I don't like to criticise, Filiberto told Fox News Digital, and you know they did their choice. Harry is a very intelligent young man. Oh dear. The Italian prince has got off to a bad start there, hasn't he? He suffered a lot from the media attention when he was young. Then, when his mother died, perhaps at a certain point he wanted to live another life, and he left with his wife to America. I felt a bit sad when I saw him at the coronation of King Charles arriving alone, because he's still the son of the King of England, the 50-year-old shared. But I think private matters should stay private in families. Well, he's got that bit right. He might not be very good at assessing the intelligence of Harry, but he's certainly got right the part of private matters remaining. Ordinarily, individuals that are able to recognise boundaries, and, of course, those individuals that are able to operate without a sense of entitlement, who show accountability for their actions, recognise that if they've got internal gripes within the family, that's where it stays. And you talk privately. You don't go and air your grievances elsewhere. But of course, for Harry's wife, she has to do so because it's part of the management of her facade, and it's a way of indirectly asserting control over people that have threatened her control, namely the royal family. Harry goes along with it because he can't see past the spicy poontang that was being delivered to him by the Duchess of Overseas. The couple has aired their grievances since moving to California. In 2021, they sat for a 2-hour interview with Oprah Winfrey that was viewed by nearly 50 million people globally. That year, Harry also spoke of his struggles being in the public eye for the Apple TV Plus docuseries The Me You Can't See, which showed him in a therapy session. In late 2022, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex launched a 6-part Netflix docuseries that detailed their experiences leading to their decision to step back as senior royals. And in January of this year, Harry's explosive memoir, Spare, was published. The book exposed deeply personal details about Harry and the royal family, often in eyebrow-raising detail. Recently, Harry was at London's High Court. He's suing the publisher of the Daily Mirror for allegedly using unlawful techniques on an industrial scale to score front-page scoops on his life. The case against Mirror Group is the first of the Prince's several lawsuits against the media to go to trial. It is one of 3 publishers he alleged unlawfully snooped on him for stories about the royal families. It's believed Harry stayed at Frogmore Cottage, the couple's former UK home. In March, a spokesperson for the couple confirmed that they were asked to vacate the residence. Previously, Harry attended his father's coronation on May 6th. However, he travelled to the airport just hours after the ceremony and immediately headed back to the States. The transatlantic trip is a journey of more than 5,400 miles, or about an 11-hour non-stop flight. It then continues with this roll call of recent events for them by talking about the near-catastrophic car chase, but then explains how that wasn't actually the case. And then we're back finally to Filiberto. He said that while Harry may have desired to break away from the constraints of royal life, it must weigh heavily on him to be isolated from the only upbringing he's ever known. I'm sure he's suffering a lot about what is happening, said Filiberto. You grew up to be like this, but you know it's their choice and God bless them, and I hope they will have a wonderful life. Filiberto can relate to the couple's journey in trying to find their way as non-working royals. In the last 20 years, he's attempted to win over a sceptical Italian public who are strongly against a monarchy by trying his hand at show business, the New York Times reported. According to the outlet, Filiberto won Italy's Dancing with the Stars, nearly won its singing competition with a song he wrote, and appeared in a reality TV show where he tried out normal professions, the outlet reported. It noted that he has also been a star judge on a talent show, has been the face of pickled olives, and even appeared in an ad for an electronic cigarette. In 2021, Deadline reported that Filiberto turned up with Chinese filmmaker Yi Zhu for a biopic of his grandmother, Queen Maria Jose. His pursuits weren't limited to television. He also launched a fresh pasta food truck in Southern California, which led to a restaurant in Westwood. He's been married to French actress Clotilde Curot since 2003. They share 2 daughters. I know what it feels like to be part of a royal family, to have this blood that is in you, he reflected. I'm the last person to try to judge people because I also did things that were completely out of, let's say, the protocol. I wanted to present myself to the Italian people, so I did television. I accept everyone, and the only thing I wish is happiness for the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, so that they could be able to raise their children in another life, and in the end we'll see who was right and who was not. But I think we shouldn't criticise one decision, and we shouldn't criticise the other decision. Filiberto noted that he greatly admires Harry's father, King Charles III. I had the pleasure to meet King Charles several times, he said. I think he's a wonderful man, first than a king. He's a man that was speaking about the environment much more before anybody else was speaking about it. He's an artistic person, and I think all of that combined will make him a fantastic king, and I totally support him. He's already doing an incredible job. Filiberto admitted that it was the king who inspired him to make his most recent move. The prince confirmed to Fox News Digital that he plans to renounce his claim to the throne for his daughter, Princess Victoria. The 19-year-old, who's currently studying political science and art history in the United Kingdom, is also a fashion model with over 85,000 followers on Instagram. I think King Charles would have been a fantastic king even 20 years ago, with some modern ideas, new ideas, said Filiberto. The Queen was wonderful, and she did an incredible job, but he would also have been an incredible king sooner. I want to give my daughter the opportunity to show what she can do before a certain age. Well, there you have it. An Italian prince who has done plenty of things which might actually, unfortunately, be giving Harry's wife's ideas as to where they might go next. Do you think she might be the face of some pickled olives? But the fact is that an Italian prince that many of us have not heard of now gets some publicity to talk about himself, but also to identify that he recognises that Harry is suffering. But of course, he doesn't know the full extent of Harry's suffering, because the prince doesn't realise that he's ensnared by a narcissist. The prince doesn't recognise or understand what a sustained devaluation is, but you do as a consequence of my work. It's undoubtedly the case that Harry is suffering, but not for the reasons necessarily that the Italian prince has identified, but for far greater reasons, far more expansive reasons. But ultimately, another individual weighing in, noting that Harry is suffering, which of course would be a threat to Harry's wife's control over Harry by having people comment in such a way, and also identifying that the Sussexes should not have aired their dirty laundry in the way that they did. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.